Since the DJI Mini 3 Pro came out a few weeks ago, more and more people have been talking about how they have been having signal and transmission issues when flying, in particular with this, the DJI RC controller. Now, there have been a couple of issues reported with the original DJI RC M1 controller as well, but many of these transmission issues do seem to relate to this particular device. Now, YouTuber Gavin HR has recently made a video which I suggest you watch, which hopefully pinpoints and gets to the bottom of what may be causing these problems. And it has to do with the Ocusync technology with this controller, and in particular how it is not selecting the correct bands as it ought to be doing when flying in different kinds of environments. So there are effectively two Wi-Fi bands that are used by the Mini 3 Pro and indeed the Mini 2 as well, and they are the 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz bands. And what is supposed to happen because of the Ocusync technology that DJI use, when you enter an area with higher interference or when you start to lose transmission or signal, those bands, along with the channels that you are connecting to, should adjust by default. You know, if you've got it select to do so on your device, they should change automatically in order to make sure that you have the strongest possible connection throughout the course of your flight. And as I said, the original RC M1 controller does seem to be doing its job here, but for some reason, according to Gavin HR's video, this controller is apparently stuck in 2.4 GHz mode unless you adjust it manually. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, 2.4 GHz does provide more range between the drone and the controller. However, when it comes to high interference areas, such as when you're flying over residential where there may be further Wi-Fi interference, that is where 5 GHz really comes into its own. Now, what should happen when you're flying over these high interference areas is that the controller should switch the Wi-Fi band automatically to that 5 GHz. And again, the DJI Mini 2 controller does exactly that. But apparently it seems that is not always happening as it's supposed to here with the RC. So that is what Gavin explained, and it's also what I would like to test today, because if we can really pinpoint this issue, then hopefully DJI will be able to fix things. So let's see how this plays out, and hopefully this will really start to narrow down the issues that many of us have been facing. So as always guys, if you are new to the channel and you want to see more DJI related content, please do subscribe to be notified of that. And thank you to all of you that have been supporting me and watching my videos up until this point. Okay folks, it has been a few days since I last recorded, you know, that introduction you've just seen, and I've been doing my own testing, which is why I haven't rushed to finish this video. Now, I do agree with Gavin that there is definitely a problem, and I agree with many of you, with the transmission, and that this does seemingly relate to the 2.4 GHz band. But my problem has been a little bit different, and I think I'm starting to get to the bottom of it now. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to fix this, and we really are at the mercy of DJI. But I wonder if some of you guys, as you watch this video, are going to be able to follow up and see if this is the issue you two have been having. And just before we get on with the flight, I did put a little video out, but just a friendly courtesy reminder that there are scammers around YouTube and even around my channel at the moment. So please just be careful not to get burned. Please do comment on my videos, but if you get a reply from a channel that looks like mine with my profile picture, but is asking you to go to Telegram or WhatsApp or something, then just ignore that. That is definitely a scam, and I don't want any of my viewers to get hurt by those. So let's go ahead, make sure we are recording. Yes, we are. Let's go ahead and take off. Now, I do need to be careful because it is quite windy. I have just taken the drone out for a fly, and it's doing the same thing, the same problem. Right then, so let me try and explain the problem. If I go into the transmission, you can see we're currently set to dual band auto channel, and we have a 5.8 GHz connection. Now, that is unusual because I am in the middle of nowhere here, and correctly, I believe, my DJI Mini 2 does connect to the 2.4 GHz band. Now, you remember the 2.4 GHz band is the long range band, Okay, when DJI say that this drone can reach 16 kilometers or whatever it is, that's on the 2.4 gigahertz connection. The problem with the 2.4 is it doesn't handle interference very well, and that's when the shorter range 5.8 gigahertz band comes into play. But for whatever reason, my DJI Mini 3 will automatically always choose 5.8 gigahertz, the shorter range band, even when I'm flying in the middle of nowhere. And I do not believe this is an Ocusync issue. I do not believe that it is, because when I switch back to manually to 2.4, which is really what we should be connected to, you'll see we're not going to be able to get very far. I know we're getting wind warnings, but we should be okay. I've got sports mode if I need it. Yeah, we are less than 200 metres away and completely and utterly losing connection. Completely lost connection. Absolutely terrible. 2.4 gigahertz. We're going to switch back to dual bands, then it'll switch back to the 5.8. 2.4 gigahertz is not working. It just isn't. It can't even reach 300 to 400 metres on that, which is utterly bizarre. I just don't get it. You know, that's the band you should be connected to that will let you reach several kilometres. And yes, I know that we have visual line of sight, so I'm not saying I want to fly several kilometres, but what I am saying is there's something wrong with it, because it should in theory be able to do that, not be able to get stuck at less than 300 metres. There is definitely an issue here. I'll just cancel that return to home. I don't understand. You say 5.8 gigahertz seems to be working as it should. All this time I've been getting to 500 metres, 550 metres, and we start to lose signal and stuff, and we're thinking that that's not far enough really to be losing signal. Well, it's actually quite acceptable on the short range 5.8 gigahertz band. And now it seems that that's what I've been connected to automatically the whole time, because the Ocusync will not use the 2.4 gigahertz band, because the 2.4 gigahertz band is the band that isn't working. But yeah, you saw that. I connected manually to 2.4, and straight away, pretty much immediately, before we even reached 300 metres, over fields, I know there's no interference. I've flown here many a time with my DJI Mini 2, but within 300 metres, bang, signal connection lost, automatic return to home. Yeah, I am terribly at a loss here in terms of how this is going to get resolved. But I am confident, because I've done several tests now, okay? I've done several tests, and I am confident that the problem is not with the Ocusync, which is what I initially went in thinking it was going to be. I do think the Ocusync is doing its job in connecting to the most appropriate or the strongest transmission. The problem is that 2.4 gigahertz isn't working. It just isn't. And so that's why the Ocusync isn't choosing that connection. It's only selecting the 5.8 gigahertz. DJI, I doubt very much you're going to see my video, but if you are somehow going to come across this, can we please get some answers as to why myself and so many others are experiencing this problem? I really do hope it is something that they're going to be able to get to the bottom of, because 2.4 gigahertz not working, it gimps this drone quite remarkably. An otherwise fantastic aircraft. It really is a wonderful quadcopter. But yeah, like I say guys, if you've got issues, and I know many of you have with the transmission, try having a look and testing out the 2.4 gigahertz manually in flight to see if it's functioning as it ought to be with this, okay, there it is, the RC controller. The RCM1 doesn't seem to have this issue. So whatever this problem is, it does seem related to this specific controller rather than the drone itself. But if you are using this controller, then please do let me know if this video helps you to narrow down the problem for yourself. And hopefully then, if the same issue is present for many of us, DJI can really get down to getting out whatever the fix needs to be in order to get this sorted. But I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Sorry I haven't got any definitive answers in terms of how to correct this problem at the moment, but hopefully, we're starting to make progress. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe for future DJI Mini 3 Pro content going forward, and I'll see you next time. Take care everybody, goodbye.